Alright, hey, what's up guys? Good morning. Today is January 27th, 2026. So, happy new year, happy new beginnings, new journeys, new walks. So, I'm glad I can make one of the first videos in 2026. So this video is going to be talking about the trip I had recently. Speaking kind of in a low voice because it just turned 7 in the morning, so people are still asleep. So, but I figured right now is a good time to make a video. So, a couple weeks ago, I went on a trip on a vacation to 3 countries. I went to show you the flags here. I went to Taiwan. Oh, this thing go. Then I went to Cambodia, and I went to South Korea, and they were all fun. So I'll just give you guys kind of a little recap of each country that we went to and what we did in those countries. So first we stopped in Taiwan, also known as Chinese Taipei, when they do competitions, either at the World Cup or the Olympics. Actually, I don't even think Taiwan has ever technically qualified for the World Cup. I know China did in 2002. They have competed in the Olympics, as Chinese Taipei. And the reason they call themselves that is because technically China claims ownership over Taiwan, but the Taiwanese claim that they're their own separate country. So it's a kind of a little iffy ground when it comes to political tension. So, but anyway, but yeah, Taiwan was beautiful. Honestly, it reminded me of Japan. So if you guys have ever been to Japan and you guys go to Taiwan, you're really gonna feel like the similarities. Because honestly, I was telling my girlfriend that walking through the streets of Taipei, I was like, I feel like I'm in Tokyo. Like really, like everything reminded me of Tokyo. Like they even have like the Family Mart stores that are also prevalent in Japan. They had the famous Ichiran ramen franchise that's also in Japan. They were also in Taiwan. Um, of course, Taiwan's more famous for their boba tea. That's also where Din Tai Fung is from. So we did take advantage and eat at Din Tai Fung, which, by the way, it's a lot cheaper there than it is in America. Which again, I understand because of the money situation and all that. But still, if you ever go to Taiwan, and you want to have very like really cheap Din Tai Fung, go there because you'll have a feast there for pretty much half the price that you would pay in America. So I ate so many pork and shrimp wontons. It was crazy. But anyway, but Taiwan's great. We went to Jufen, which is kind of like a little village outside of Taipei, where with a bunch of lanterns. There's a lot of markets and stuff. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Spirited Away. Like where they walk like those like ancient like those like little shops and you see like the lanterns like in the nighttime. That's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of Spirited Away. So it was actually pretty cool to see that sort of environment. So I like that. We did that. Then we did the Taipei 101 tower. That was pretty cool. And it was pretty much like just like a lot of exploring, shopping. We went to finally try the boba tea there, and it was delicious. So I recommend if you're a boba tea lover, Taiwan's your best bet to go. You'll love it there. And yeah, Taiwan, pretty cool place. So then from Taiwan we go into Cambodia. So Cambodia, we were pretty much in Phnom Penh, which is like the capital. We stayed for like a day or I want to say like at least a full day there. We walked around the capital. We used like the motorbikes, motor taxis. So over there they don't use Uber. They use an app called Grab, which is kind of like their Uber. And yeah, and honestly, everything there was pretty cheap. It's interesting because a lot of stores now actually also accept dollars like as a currency. So they have their own Cambodian currency, but you can actually even pay with dollars now, which is crazy. So like we went to too many shops and and food places where when you went to pay, it would say like we accept not just Cambodian currency, but also U.S. dollars and euro. And I was like, huh. So that was pretty interesting that you can actually pay with dollars, at least in Phnom Penh, at least in the capital. So that was very interesting. Our hotel was pretty nice. It was literally in the downtown, so we had a nice view in our room. And walking through the streets, it was pretty cool. There's a lot of Chinese investment now, which is crazy because as we were driving through, as we were like being driven through the capital, you saw a lot of like Chinese signs next to buildings and stuff. And how do I say? And so you could tell there's a lot of investment coming in from China, that they're investing into Cambodia to build the infrastructure. So China has a lot of influence in this region, and I'm sure there'll be more influence in the years to come. Um, so yeah, we did that in Phnom Penh, and then on one of the days we did a tour of Angkor Wat, which I feel that's what most people come to Cambodia for, to go to Angkor Wat in Siem Reap. So it's not actually in Phnom Penh; it's actually another city, which if you don't fly there, it's about a 4 or 5 hour drive, which is kind of what we did with the drive, because the flight would have been almost more. No, it would have been like $100 per person more. But not only that, you would have to pay for the transportation from there to the site and then back, and it had to fly all the way back. So we just did the driving because it took us straight there, and then we had everything taken care of, and then come back. So my recommendation is, if you want to do this, the Angkor Wat, you can either just fly straight to Siem Reap, and then honestly just stay at the hotel, for the night, and then the morning do the tour. And then once you're done, you can even either fly back to Phnom Penh that same day, or just stay another night and then fly back the next day. You can do the drive. I mean, I would recommend it if you're someone that doesn't like to be like in a car for 4 or 5 hours, not just going there but also going back. So it was like 10 hours of total driving. Just getting from there to here. So that's just kind of like the things you take if you want to save some money, which is what we were trying to do. But anyway, Angkor was amazing. I took a lot of photos, videos, and our tour was amazing. He was a cool guy. So it was a great time in Cambodia. So also recommend if you're into like going to those temples. It's amazing. I mean, you really feel like you were like in an Indiana Jones movie. Or if you, I don't know if you guys ever seen the Tomb Raider movie, a lot of the movie scenes that she does was also in those temples in Cambodia. So highly recommend for those travelers as well. And then the last country we stopped at was South Korea. So South Korea was so the time we went, it was pretty cold. I mean, it was actually snowing, for the few days that we were there. But I really enjoyed Korea. I mean, it's crazy because there wasn't really a lot of foreigners when we went. We actually saw mostly Koreans. I think in the 3 days that we were there, I think probably 90% of the people that we interacted were all there. Were all local. We rarely saw tourists, which is crazy. And maybe it's just because it's one of those times of the year where people don't go because it's just too cold. But I still had a good time. We went to the city, we explored, we went to the markets, enjoyed the food, enjoyed hot pot. We went to the little market stalls and tried some food. It was delicious. But the highlight for me was the DMZ. So we actually went to the border with North Korea, or as they themselves call themselves, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. And we got to go to the actual DMZ. We went to like this building where there's 3 floors. On the 3rd floor, there's like a little balcony with binoculars where you can actually go in and look through and see actually North Korea. So you actually saw the other side. So you saw like a village there with people people on bikes, people on tending to their farmland. And I didn't see any cars, which is crazy. I didn't really see any cars on the other side. What I did notice though, that we saw propaganda. We actually saw like actual propaganda on one of the mountain sides. And there was one that said essentially that we are the best in the world, or we are the #1 country in the world. And which is, when you think about it, it's like, this is what this government's telling their people, not knowing that literally meters across in the south, there's people that are able to express their opinion, people having $10 coffees, while they're probably just eating once, maybe twice a day if they're lucky, It was just crazy to see the disparity, that like literally in meters apart, there's 2 different worlds, so so that was very, very interesting. And just learning the history of the Korean War and how that changed people's lives, and how it ended up to these 2 countries being divided. I always feel hopefully one day they'll be reunified, kind of like how West Germany and East Germany combined that after they were separated, also for like 45-50 years after the World War II. But I feel like this would be a little difficult because, again, I feel like the North and the South have become so unique in their identities, in their political identities, that they're probably just 2 different countries. So and yeah, who knows if they'll ever reunify, at least in my lifetime. But there's always that hope that one day they'll become one country. And that the people that live in the North, with their dictatorship and everything, I hope one day those people experience true freedom and be able to do what they want. So anyway, but yeah, that was Korea. Korea was amazing, and yeah, highly recommend if you haven't been there yet. And that was my trip. So that was amazing. So that was trips I have planned for this year. So for sure, we're planning to go to China, but that'll be probably sometime either in late July or early August. We're gonna plan like a couple-week trip to China, which would include Hong Kong and Macau. So I'm actually looking forward to going to China. That's gonna be a pretty cool trip in my opinion. And then other than that, since the World Cup is this year, I hope to go to Mexico. At least to go to a game if possible. I mean, if not, then it's fine. So that'll be the only other that would be the only other trip also of the years to go to for the World Cup, but to go to a match in Mexico. And then other than that, maybe this is still kind of like iffy. Maybe we go to Japan again. But again, that wouldn't be till like maybe like October, like towards the end of the year again. Because with the China thing, I want to have some buffer before that trip, and then if we go to Japan. But if we go to Japan, it wouldn't be like it'd probably be like maybe like a 10-day trip the most. Like it wouldn't be like a long trip. So we would only go also because there's like a city that my girlfriend really wants to go to, Takayama, and my sole goal would pretty much be if we go to Japan this year, it would just be like literally just to Tokyo and Takayama. Now, if she wants to go to like Kyoto because she loves Kyoto, then we'll fit it in. But pretty much it would just be those 2 or 3 cities, and that's it. I don't think we even go to Osaka this time because I feel we already been there, done that in Osaka. And honestly, a lot of things that are in Osaka we can do that in Tokyo anyway. So so to me, I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm okay with not going to Osaka this time. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's that, and hope you guys have a great rest of your month, January. We're almost pretty the end of the month. I always feel like January is like a really long month for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like this month drags on. But anyway, that's just another rant. But anyway, love you guys always, and hope you guys have a great health, great wealth, and just all around happiness. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.